Hello, I'm Billy Clayton and I'm a Research Fellow at the Centre for Transport and Society at UWE. In this section, we're going to be looking at travel behaviour change in the context of recent efforts to encourage more people to use public transport.
Public transport is the term commonly used to refer to shared passenger modes of travel, which are available to the general public. The most iconic forms of public transport are probably the train and the bus. However, there are a whole range of different types, including trams, ferries, and even cable cars. In this section, we're going to focus on one of these modes, the bus, and explore the role that these services play in our transport system. The bus is an important mode to a large number of people, and represents almost 2/3 of the trips made by public transport modes in the UK. Despite the popularity of the bus, nonetheless, it still only accounts for a relatively small proportion of all trips. The UK transport network is dominated by car travel, with approximately 64% of trips in the UK being made by car, compared with just 7% of trips being made by bus. Bus patronage fell steadily after its peak in the 1950s, and over the past decade or so has stagnated, at least outside London. Historically, this huge decline in the use of buses can be linked to the advent of affordable car travel, as greater numbers of people found themselves able to afford a car and were attracted by the perceived benefits of the car in relation to public transport. These were convenience, privacy, control, freedom, and reliability. In the decades since, there has been a vast amount of research into the impacts of excessive car travel, and it is now generally accepted that there is a need to reduce the number of private car trips to help manage the negative environmental impacts of carbon emissions, air pollution, and urban congestion, at the same time as helping to tackle social issues including community degradation and health crises such as increasing levels of obesity and heart disease. Getting people out of their cars and onto public transport for some trips is one of the main approaches to reducing levels of car travel. However, there are a number of challenges to increasing the numbers of people that use the bus. We've seen how accommodating the boom in car travel has been a key focus of urban design in the 20th century, and the negative effect this has had on provision for other modes such as public transport. A further consequence has been the car becoming one of the principal icons of modern popular culture. In film, TV, and print, it is difficult for the bus to compete with this cultural image of the car. Research has shown that the bus is perceived negatively by many people. It is perceived as expensive, unreliable, and inconvenient. It has a poor representation in popular culture. Negative comparisons are made from it to the car, and it is often seen as, quote-unquote, a mode of last resort. Fares, punctuality, and reliability vary nationally, and yet irrespective of how true these perceptions might be, they represent the main challenges to be overcome in encouraging greater use of the bus. So how can this problem be addressed? Now we're going to take a look at Greater Bristol, where recent projects have provided a significant amount of funding for the improvement of local bus services. Bristol has a long history of bus travel, dating back to 1877, when the Bristol Tramways Company, which would later become the Bristol Omnibus Company, first started providing a horse-drawn bus service to Clifton. Today, there is an extensive bus network covering the Greater Bristol area. Services are provided by a number of private operators, with the largest of these being First Bus. First's main competitor is Wessex, and there are a number of smaller operators which also run routes across the sub-region. Despite its long-established bus network, Bristol currently suffers from some of the worst congestion in the country, and average vehicle speeds were just 14.9 miles an hour in 2012-2013. Over the past 3 decades, Bristol's bus services and operators have come under regular criticism, with passenger numbers dwindling and the 2006 local transport plan describing the bus network as unattractive and expensive. In the past few years, however, there has been a concerted effort on the part of both the operators and the local authorities to turn this around and increase the attractiveness of bus travel. Now we will look at some examples of these measures. In 2006, the 4 local authorities in the West of England sub-region, Bristol City Council, Bath and North East Somerset Council, North Somerset Council, and South Gloucestershire Council, set out to create their first joint local transport plan, the JLTP. This included the creation of the Greater Bristol Bus Network, always shortened to the GBBN. The GBBN included a number of measures to improve speed, quality, reliability, and attractiveness of bus services. This included 10 showcase bus routes across the whole of the sub-region, representing the main corridors into and out of the main urban areas. New bus lanes, road widening measures, bus priority measures at junctions, 120 new buses, 1,000 improved bus stops, tree planting and public realm improvements around the bus network, improved pedestrian and cyclist access to the bus network, and new real-time information provision. The aim of these measures are all to make the bus more attractive, and they can be grouped into three rough categories. Measures such as providing bus lanes, widening roads, and altering priorities all help to improve punctuality and reliability, which are regularly reported as the most important issues to passengers. Measures such as new vehicles, nicer stops, public realm improvements, and better accessibility all make people feel as though the bus service is of a higher quality and make the bus a more pleasant place to spend time. Providing real-time information, such as live bus times at the stop, or information provided to people's mobile phone devices, is very important for managing people's expectations of the service and improving perceptions of punctuality and reliability by removing the uncertainty of waiting at the bus stop. These measures have had a positive impact on perceptions of the bus network and also on passenger numbers. In 2007, the percentage of passengers satisfied with the overall quality of bus services in the area was 46%. In 2011 and 12, this had risen to 73%, an increase of 27% in satisfaction in 5 years. Over the period 2008-2009 to 2012-2013, First Bus saw a growth of 17.6% in passenger numbers on their main corridor routes. Satisfaction with punctuality rose by 25%, from 41% in 2007 to 66% in 2011-2012. Satisfaction with travel information rose from 44% in 2007 to 75% in 2011-2012, an increase of 31%. It is clear that these measures have had a dramatic impact on the way in which people in Greater Bristol view the bus network. There is still a way to go in terms of improving services and encouraging people out of their cars. However, after many years of stagnation and low passenger numbers, these new results are really promising.
So, in this example, we've seen how increased patronage on buses and improved perceptions of services has been achieved through three main types of measure. Measures to improve punctuality and reliability of services, measures to improve the experience of actually being on the bus and the experience of being at the bus stop and in the public realm, and measures to improve public transport information provision. Now, of course, beyond the GBBN, there are a number of other initiatives taking place in the city to improve our public transport network. Click on the links following this video to have a look at these in more detail.